Good afternoon, everyone. It's Pastor Russ here. Thank you for being with me today for our lunchbox devotion. I'm kind of outside in the great outdoors because it is a beautiful day, and I'm out here in the woods behind my house. And I really wanted to take a moment to share with you guys kind of a fond childhood memory of mine. I was maybe 4, 5 years old, maybe at the most. And I lived on a little small street in Vienna, West Virginia. And one day, for no particular reason, I noticed that there's a little teeny tiny pine tree that had grown up in front of our house. And again, I was maybe 4, maybe 5 years old. I had a lot of energy, I had a lot of time on my hands, and I thought it'd be really fun in my little brain to go out there and have a massive sword fight with the little pine tree. As you can very well imagine, the pine tree did not do very well. I won by a really, really wide margin. The pine tree really, really lost. And I remember my mother being very upset with me that I'd gone out and kind of beaten the daylights out of this poor pine tree. And I remember her saying to me, "What in the world did that poor pine tree ever do to you that you felt the need to go out and beat the daylights out of the poor thing?" And I remember thinking to myself, well, I guess the pine tree really hadn't done anything. And she said to me, imagine how the pine tree must have felt. Here's this kid with a stick beating the daylights out of it. It can't run away. It can't move. It can't do anything but just get the tar beat out of it. And this is the first time as a child I remember having a significant experience with empathy. I really got in there and felt what that little tree must have been feeling. Now, looking back on it, the simple fact of the matter is the tree wasn't feeling anything. It's a tree. Trees don't feel like you and I have pain sensors that feel. I'm sure in its own plant-like way, it did not appreciate me beating the tar out of it. But I felt bad for the tree. And so, again, in my little 4-year-old mind, I did the only thing I could think of to make it up to the tree. I threw it a birthday party. Now, I don't know why anyone in their right mind throws a birthday party for a tree. How was I to know when its birthday even was? But in my 4 or 5-year-old mind, I thought, what would cheer me up if I was really sad? And I thought the best thing in the world is a birthday party. So I went out and I made like streamers and I had presents, and I went out and I opened the presents for the tree, and I decorated. I had a banner that said happy birthday. I'm sure the tree really didn't care, but the tree kind of became my friend. And so the tree and I were buddies. And I would go and I'd talk to the tree and I'd play around the tree, and I was always really careful not to beat it up again. And the tree did really well. There came a day when we realized that the tree was a pine tree. It was going to get to be a big pine tree, and it was really kind of close to our house. And so my parents, who were very aware that I'd bonded with this tree, dug it up, took it out to my grandparents' farm, put it on a ridge, and there the tree lived. Still lives. Probably, oh my, many, many years ago. Mind you, this happened, I hate to say it out loud, 45, 46 years ago? And about 20 years ago, when my grandmother passed away, we went out, my dad and I, we went out to the farm, and we took a look at the tree. This tree that we'd planted on a ridge by itself. Now it was 40 foot tall, an enormous pine tree, huge pine tree. And here's what I want you to understand. That pine tree did not grow to be 40 foot tall because I felt bad about beating it up. It did not grow to be 40 foot tall because I had pleasant conversations with it. It did not grow to be 40 foot tall because I learned to feel empathy for another being through that tree. And it sure didn't grow to be 40 foot tall because I threw it a birthday party that it didn't need. It grew to be 40 foot tall because I went out with that tree that couldn't have grown to its full size in front of my house, and I put it in good earth in a good spot, all by itself, in a perfect location, and I gave it what it needed to grow. That's why the tree grew. I want you guys to listen to a scripture text real quick. Jesus here is addressing the fact that we human beings sometimes we want to separate ourselves off from reality in this really awful way. We think sentiment is equivalent to love. What I felt when I felt sad that the tree was sad was sentiment. What I felt when I threw the tree a birthday party to make it happier, because I figured that would make it happy, that was sentiment. And there's nothing wrong with sentiment. I'm a sentimental person. But it really would not have changed that tree's life this much that it got a birthday party. But what changed that tree's life was that I did the one thing it needed. I gave it the perfect place to grow. And for us Christians, we need to understand there's a difference between sentiment and love. There was this incredibly intelligent monk. His name was Thomas Merton. Merton once said, the problem with Christians is that we're all about love. I love my neighbor, I love my God, I love my enemy, but we don't even know what that means. What does it mean to love? If we're just talking about sentiment, we've already lost the track of what we're supposed to be doing. Merton said, the definition of love is to will that which is best for another above all else, even yourself. See, in the end, the tree grew because I did the thing love required, that which was best for the tree. Did I miss the tree because it wasn't in my front yard anymore? I did. Did I miss hanging out with the tree, which was now hours away at my grandmother's house? I missed it. Did I do the one thing that made the tree grow into a giant tree? I did. That's the difference between sentiment and love. Sentiment makes us feel good. Love makes the other person good. To will that which is best for another above all else, that is the definition of love. Thank you all for spending some time with me today at lunch. I hope you're having a safe, secure, maybe even fulfilling coronavirus time at home. But until I see you next week, thank you all for being with me. God bless. Hang out for our announcements. Thank you all.